Murray of 100% Fed Up and Jim Hoft of the Gateway Pundit. And
Hey.
today we have two very special guests. Sheriff Brad Coe, who's on his way back to his seat, there he is, of Kinney County, and the county attorney is also joining us. And I think that they have some pretty explosive news that they'd like to share with us today. And I don't know if I want to tell too much of what the story is about. All I want to say is that I know I speak for Jim when I say that these two men are American heroes. We've seen a lot of talk, Jim, and Jim and I have written a lot of stories about some really horrible things that are happening on the border, including sex trafficking of children, human trafficking, the drug smugglers that are coming across our border, people that are just criminals that are walking across our border and then being sent on airplanes across the United States and buses. But I don't think anybody's more affected by what's happening on the border than the people that are actually living on the border towns. And just to hear their stories is heartbreaking. It's horrifying and it's heartbreaking at the same time. And Jim, I don't know, did you want to add anything before we
we're thrilled that you guys are coming on with us today with this huge announcement, a historic day in our country's history. And it's sad that we're at this place. It's unbelievable. Since I've been reporting since 2004, they still haven't fixed this crisis on the border, and it's worse today than ever. So my heart goes out to you guys, like Patty said, and we hope we can bring some attention to this. It looks like a complete nightmare, and anything we can do to help you guys, anything our listeners and our readers can do, just please let us know. We want to support you any way we can.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
So who wants to start, Brent or Sheriff Coe? Who wants to start?
I'll let the sheriff begin.
Okay. All right.
Kinney County, West Texas. We have 16 miles of border between us and Mexico. We are the 27th largest county in the state out of 254. We rank number 27, but we only have 2,600 people county-wide. So we're not very populated, but we got a lot of space to fill. Back in April, we declared an emergency declaration, got it all written up. We got it through the Commissioner's Court, and that's where this all started. And trying to get control, get the equipment we need, we sit between two bigger counties, and they seem to get all the attention. But everything that happens there in the way of enforcement gets pushed into our county. And with 6 full-time deputies and 10 part-time deputies right now, it's not near enough to control what's going on our highways. We've got DPS here who I'm truly thankful they're here. It gives us a bit of a break, but there's so much foot traffic going through the ranches. And they're just tearing up fences or putting holes or leaving holes. Animals are getting out and they're destroying property at an ungodly rate. So what we've trying to get going, trying to work with is the commissioners today authorized me to hire or to recruit, swear in, deputize for reserve deputies, 10 individuals. And we're going to take it step at a time, vet them properly, do a background check, make sure they have proper training, equipment, and everything they need to act as a reserve deputy.
So essentially, Sheriff Coe, what you're saying is that you're kind of tired of relying on the federal government to protect your citizens, and you're kind of taking matters into your own hands. You're deputizing. It's my understanding that the 10 people that you're deputizing to start are former law enforcement officers and military veterans. Is that correct?
That's the type we'll be looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Those that have some type of either police or military experience that we can vet properly and that will receive training through some of the things we have to do here. But as far as taking it into our own hands, the Border Patrol is we didn't have much choice. Border Patrol was completely overwhelmed at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Thousands of people coming, just turning themselves in that wanted to get caught, created this problem. And this,
I might jump in here real quick.
Go ahead.
Right now, when someone crosses the border and they want to travel north, there's nothing at all standing in their way except the farmers and ranchers in our county. There's not a law enforcement presence on the ground. There's nothing. And so we're trying to protect our residents of the county that are standing in the way of this invasion right now. And with the limited resources we have, it's just not possible. And so that's why we've done, several things. We've requested, 2,000 or 15, or I think 2,000 National Guard from the governor. We haven't heard back anything from him yet. And we've also have a website up to get donations for supplies, everything that we're going to need for the personnel. And that website's defendoutrborders.org if anyone's interested in donations through there. But right now we have arrested in our county alone somewhere around 1,200 people that have been caught trespassing in our county, which is much higher than any other county around us, because we're basically the epicenter of the smuggling issue. Val Verde County, next to us, those where the Haitians were. That's really the epicenter for the people that want to give up, that want to claim,
asylum, some type of refugee status.
Yeah. And so that's why there's two different counties, Val Verde and then us, but they're two different types of invasions that are going on. We haven't had any give ups that I know of anyway in Kinney County.
So when you say you haven't had any give ups, are these criminals, people that don't want to claim asylum because they have a criminal record, and so they're trying to skirt law enforcement, essentially get around them?
That's a lot of them. They have either got type of record or they're previously deported, so they're trying to circumvent not only the checkpoints but to hit the back road, so they're not identified.
Okay, so these are the bad hombres that President Trump spoke about when he said that Mexico wasn't sending us their finest. These are the people that are coming into Kinney County that you're dealing with.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Jim, did you want to add anything?
Sure.
Did you have any questions you wanted to ask?
I had a couple quick questions. One was, so your county, you say it's down there. Is it next to Del Rio then too? Is that where we saw the Haitians coming in a couple weeks ago? Is it next?
Yes, sir.
And
they're the county due west of us.
So once the Haitians quit and the other migrants quit going in there, did they head then directly through your county, or is this, you're saying this is completely different population? These are people who don't want to get caught.
The ones we're seeing are the ones that don't want to get caught.
Okay, and so of course that would mean they're up to something illegal, which is even more frightening that they're coming into your county. These are the type of people who are coming in there. I was also going to ask, I know, Brent, you had mentioned that the governor had promised 2,000 people to come down and help. What is the governor doing enough? I mean, we hear a lot of talk from a lot of people, and I don't mean to say this to get political. I'm just wondering who's helping and who isn't.
Well, the governor hasn't promised that. What we did is 2 weeks ago. Well, let me back up. On April 21st, we're the first county to file a local state of disaster. So that's what a county can do when, just like the state, but a county for its locality can do that. We're the first county to do that in April of 2021. Then 2 weeks ago, we filed another local state of disaster with the amount of Haitians and caravans coming this way, and we requested the governor send 2,000 National Guard into Kinney County. We have not heard anything about our request or have received any National Guard. And it is kind of frustrating because Val Verde County to our west has received about 1,500 National Guard. And then Maverick County to our east has received 1,500 National Guard. So it's kind of creating a funnel with us in between those two counties where there's nothing. And so now there's, when they do get here, if they come into this area, they're going to funnel right into our county, and we have nothing standing in their way. So that's why it's an emergency for us.
Are you guys aware of any other county in the United States ever taking the action that you're taking as far as deputizing local citizens to help protect their own county?
The first
I'm sure we're not. Well, I'm sure we're not the first, but in recent memory, I believe,
history, yeah,
perhaps. Yes, sir. But under the Texas Local Government Code, it speaks about what we're exactly doing. Having the reserve sheriff deputies to do this, and it sets forth in the Texas Local Government Code, section 85.004, and so that's what we're doing this under. And but we're going to go through and make sure they're vetted, criminal background checks, give them certification on training. Take as many steps as we can on our part to meet that standard.
Okay. And you noticed, or we heard you say that they're going to start with 10 deputies. Does that mean that there's going to be, how many possibly are we looking at? If 10 doesn't do the job, how many deputies are we looking at?
Well, we're just going to play that part by ear on an as-needed basis, because sometimes in law enforcement, you get the right personnel. 5 to 6 can do a better job than 100 based on their training and their attitude.
And do you have a plan for the ranchers, a separate plan for the ranchers to help protect the ranchers?
That's one thing we are looking at. I'm going to try to get a meeting with some of the strategic ranchers in certain parts of the county to see what we can get set up.
Okay. I'd heard that you were maybe talking to some local militias there that were trained that could help to protect the ranchers.
Talking to some militia members, but at this point in time, we haven't hired them. We haven't entered any type of contract agreement with them.
Okay. Yeah, because it seems like those ranchers are kind of on their own. I recently saw a video, and I think it was a couple in your county that was talking about how they couldn't even take the trash out without having the wife having to bring a gun with her, and they keep a loaded gun at the kitchen table because they just never know what's going to happen. I mean, they have guns in every room because they never know when someone's going to come through a window or a door and they need to protect themselves. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, we think about, like, I live in Michigan. I think about all the stories of the illegal aliens that are being bussed here. And to me, it's horrifying that all these unvetted people from countries from all over the world are coming into our state. But I can't imagine the horror that the people that are living on the border must feel, and how grateful they must be to have a sheriff who actually cares enough to protect the citizens and to find a plan to help protect the citizens and implement it.
But just imagine, say, 8 or 10 guys walking through your backyard 3 or 4 times a week and leaving their food and water bottles behind the faucet, and there's nobody there to stop them. That's what it's like.
It's insane. It's
really
absolute
is
insanity. Yeah. I just can't imagine. I was gonna mention something. A lot of times in our media, we get these reports that these militia people are bad people. They're up to no good. And I was wondering, is that what your experience has been, or are these just people who belong to gun clubs, or what type of people are these militia people that may be active in the county?
Well, the ones I recently met, they seem to all be well trained. They seem to be all Christian based. They've got a specific job that they. Of course, the county attorney, for one that really brought it to scope today, when he told them, said, this country was founded by the militia. Texas was founded by the militia. Over the years, a lot of people have confused militia with vigilantes. And so it's kind of gotten a bad name and a bad rap. But we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the first militia in the country.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, Jim and I talked about that earlier today when we were kind of discussing your situation down there, and talked about how militias, the left has managed to make the militia a dirty word, and how a lot of these people really are just heroes. I mean, I've been working with people down on the Texas border, the Texas border volunteers, and I know a lot of those men that are protecting our border down there are former law enforcement. And veterans, and they're all good people, and all they're trying to do is protect their country from an invasion that our government isn't protecting our country well enough from right now. I mean, that's obvious.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah,
well,
like Jim said,
in my view, there's organizations in Austin, Texas that are named, the Community Watch, like a Community Watch. It's the same. They have the same goals. It's just what name are they going by? And the fact that the word militia has such a negative connotation to it's ridiculous. They're here to help fellow Texans, fellow residents. To me, it's a constitutional right that they're exercising, and they're here to protect our local residents and ranch owners. The county doesn't have any official, relationship with them, but at the same time, if our residents want them to come onto their property and aid them in this crisis, that's their business.
Right, and we saw that even I'm up in St. Louis, Missouri, and even when there was rioting up here around Ferguson, Missouri, some people, business owners, had militia people come in and help protect their businesses. So we know that happens. But another thing is, I know also another local individual who has been linked to some militias, but they've been down there for years and years, haven't they? Certain militias that kind of help out and try to do what they can. Is that anything you've heard of, or is this? I know he had been to Arizona several years ago when there was some militias down there. So I think they've been helping protect for a long time. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I agree, and I think one of the things that I don't want to forget to mention that we have a link scrolling across the bottom of our podcast, defendoutrborders.org, to donate. And the reason behind that is because we're asking people, or Sheriff Coe and Brent Smith are asking people that are watching this podcast or that share this podcast to consider donating to this very, it's a historic cause where they're deputizing their citizens to help protect our borders. I'm hoping, I don't know what you're hoping, but I'm hoping that other sheriffs will catch wind of this and think this is a pretty good idea, something that they should be doing on their borders as well, not just in Texas, but in Arizona and even maybe perhaps California.
Well, of course, I think we're at the tip of the spear on this. So how we do this, whether we succeed or fail, I think it's going to be the benchmark for it.
Are there other actions that you're taking along with this, the deputizing local citizens? Is there other things you're doing too to address this crisis?
Well, we're all talking to our ranchers and making sure that they understand that yes, it's their property, but don't try to interact with them. Don't try to detain, because that could lead to something worse. It's just a matter of time before somebody gets hurt. But we're trying to minimize that risk. If you can get a picture, give us GPS coordinate, we'll try to respond the best we can. But we're just having to bring awareness to it to make sure, because we've been for so long, let the kids go out and play on, you got 3 kids there, let the kids go out and play. You can't do that anymore. And have their hunters, check the blind real good before they just go walking into the deer blind and start somebody. So everybody's having to be more proactive on this.
So what happens when these newly deputized citizens apprehend, say they apprehend a group of 10 members of a drug cartel? What do they do with those people? Do they take them back across the border? Do they call the Border Patrol, who then releases them into the country? What's the protocol? What will happen?
Well, that's one thing that we have to work on.
Okay. So that's something that you're working on still then?
Right.
Okay. So, I don't really have any other questions. I think the only other question I have is we're asking people to donate. Can you tell us the kinds of things that you need to purchase still to make this effort successful?
Well, we always
what are the kinds of
tires, vehicles, new handheld radios, basic equipment. We'll probably have to hire some additional staff for the phone calls and the paperwork, etc. Right now, we're looking at the very basic stuff. Once we get that accomplished, once we get that solved, then we'll take it up to the next tier.
Okay.
And we all saw the reports on the media that there's a huge group coming up through Central America, through Mexico, towards the border. Are you guys aware of where they're heading to? Is it going to be your county?
The last word I got, which was a couple of days ago, they're still in Central America. There's some confusion. Guatemala, Mexico seems to be doing their part, keeping them out. But if it's group 80,000, I don't think they can keep them out for very long. And then once they do get through, if they get through, they can be up, if they're bused, they can be up here in a day and a half.
And who in your county is helping these people once they cross the border, if they are asking for asylum? Are there any certain groups that are specifically helping them, like Catholic Charities?
Well, there's charities in the valley around McAllen. As far as Catholic Charities in Del Rio, I'm not sure. I can't.
Okay. Okay. I was just wondering who's helping to coordinate once they get across, helping them get into our local communities across the United States. Who's helping them to get on the airplanes? I mean, Victor Avila, I think you're familiar with Victor. He's a former special ICE agent. He sent some incredible video of a Guatemalan family, or not, excuse me, not Guatemalan, Honduran, Ugandan family. I got it right. Finally, the third time. Ugandan family that flew in from Uganda to Mexico City, where they met somebody that took them to the border, and then they paid that person $5,000 each to get across the border. They basically walked across the border, walked into a U.S. border agent office, got paperwork, and were on an airplane in like no time at all. So, it's just incredible what's happening. I mean, they had no identification. They boarded the airplane. Victor videotaped them boarding the airplane with no identification. It's just really incredible. I don't think people understand how serious it is, what's happening on our border. I mean, we have people from all over the world, not just Mexico and South and Central America, that are crossing our borders.
Well, in this part of the state, we've picked up people from 151 different countries.
Unbelievable. Wow. Just unbelievable. That's a wide open border. When the word gets around like that, that's a wide open border. It's outrageous. How do you guys have any perimeter fence, border wall? Was he able to build some miles of border wall in your county?
No, our 16, 17 miles of border is all privately owned, as most of Texas border is privately owned. So you've got to, with the landowner, the fact that if it's a production ranch, he's got cattle, he's livestock, hunting. There's a lot of factors that go into it. But at this time, we don't have any. Is
that something you guys would request if you could, or is it not as important for your county?
Well, I kind of sit on the fence on that because it is his private property. We would have to do that. It's convenient for him because it is his property. At the end of the day, he paid for it. He bought it. His blood, sweat, and tears.
Okay.
And I think just an obvious question is just to ask you, how different is it since Trump's been out of office now, in the past 10 months? I mean,
I'll tell you what, I'll let Brent answer that one because it's had more effect on him since January than it has me.
Okay.
Well, I was elected, or I took office in January. This is, so this is my first year as a county attorney here. And so I haven't seen what normal is, but I know that this year, I think we found up to 15 bodies, Sheriff, in our county that have been dead. And there's
15.
many more than that.
Wow.
Right. And like versus last year, I think we found a couple.
Yeah. Normally in a good year, I should say in any given 12 period, one, maybe two. But this year, since April, it's been 15.
Tragic.
But when
go ahead, Sheriff.
When our county attorney took office, we took him a little bit of paperwork for prosecution, this, that, case, 2-3 months. And now he's swamped with about 1,500 misdemeanor cases sitting on his desk. So he's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all do. Yeah, it is. It's a drastic change. Of course, I haven't known anything different but this. And everyone's like, "Oh, it'd be a good job. You need to run for county attorney and do this." I didn't know what I was signing up for.
Wow.
But no, I'm glad to do it. I was born and raised in Brackettville in Kinney County. So everyone that's having these issues, I've known them my whole life. So it's something I've grown up with this issue, but nothing like it is now. I was born in Del Rio, actually, and raised in Brackettville, which is just 20 miles away.
Wow.
So this is the worst you've ever seen it right now?
Oh, by far.
Yeah.
By far. Not even close.
I've been here since 85, and I've seen the pendulum go both ways where a lot of alien traffic, very little bit like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this is like an invasion. It really is truly a
full-blown
invasion.
Right. To put it into perspective, on my county budget for office supplies, like folders and things like that, I'm usually allotted $1,200 a year for that thing. This last week, I bought just folders and I spent $1,000. So I spent my entire county budget just on having enough folders for all the cases coming in. That's how strapped for resources we are in Kinney County. We're not meant. Normally, I did ask a previous county attorney, I said, how many cases did you usually file per month? He said, 10 to 12 cases is what we usually filed per month. Well, last week alone, we filed 305 days. So that kind of tells you where we're at. We're going so fast, the gears are fixing to fall off.
So when you hear the DHS Secretary Mayorkas say that the border is closed, what would your response be to that, Department of Homeland Security chief?
I don't know what his idea of closed is.
What
it's like
border is he looking at?
Yeah, it's outrageous. They said this month would be the largest ever influx with 400,000. Are you hearing that? Is that what's happening now? The month's about half over. Do you think they're going to hit that 400,000, or do you have any idea?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I haven't had a chance in the past 2 weeks to really look at it or Border Patrol about that topic.
Yeah, that's as many people as Cleveland, Tampa, Cincinnati, some cities about that size. So it's unbelievable for most Americans to imagine that amount of illegal people coming across the border nonstop and being spread around the country. And we also know that there's problems with COVID with some of these, and that they're not even checking the COVID with some of these. Are you seeing problems in that area too?
Well, I'm sure there's quite a few that have gone through here with COVID and a few other diseases, Ebola, TB, other ailments throughout the world, but nobody's checking.
Okay. Well, we'd love to keep up on this story. I know Patty does too. She's having a little cough fit, but I know she would like to keep up on that also. Please let us know how it goes. If there's anything we can do to help you guys. And we really admire you for your courage and your resilience and this creative move you're making to deputize local men and women to help out with the crisis.
Yeah, we can't thank you enough. I'm sorry, I have really bad allergies right now, so I apologize for that. But yeah, we can't thank you enough. I mean, like Jim said, this is historic. And anything that we can do to help you, we will. And I would like to ask our viewers to consider donating to your very worthy cause. I mean, this just doesn't affect you. This affects everybody in the United States, what's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
thank you so much.
Right. We're just on the forefront, so we see it.
Yeah, and we hear about it. It looks
all
like.
Right, I appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate you having the courage. Thank you.
Y'all take care.
Thank you.
You
Thank
too.
you, Sheriff.